Hello, and thank you for joining us. With his first 100 days in the rearview mirror, President Trump is revealing his mindset on immigration, the judicial branch, and the economy. In a wide-ranging interview on NBC's Meet the Press over the weekend, the president was asked about the possibility of an economic downturn during his second term in office.
Some people on Wall Street have expressed concerns that the possibility of a recession is increasing. Is it okay in the short term to have a recession?
Look, everything's okay. What we are, I said, this is a transition period. I think we're going to do fantastically.
Are you worried about a recession?
No.
President Trump was also asked specifically about the state of the economy and volatility in the market since he took office and imposed sweeping tariffs on foreign imports.
When does it become the Trump economy?
It partially is right now. And I really mean this. I think the good parts are the Trump economy and the bad parts are the Biden economy.
But, sir, you acknowledge when you announced your tariffs, for example, the stock market dropped. It's been volatile. It has since gone up.
It is,
Do you take responsibility for that? Yeah. Do you take responsibility when it drops?
Ultimately, I take responsibility for everything, but I've only just been here for a little more than 3 months.
CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro joins us now. Aaron, the president there shedding some light on how he views things, particularly as he blamed the GDP numbers in Q1 on Biden, saying it was the former president's overhang, saying he may even do the same for Q2. What's the latest you're hearing on trade negotiations?
Lindsay, good to be with you. I thought it was striking, that despite President Trump blaming his predecessor, despite acknowledging at least half-heartedly the potential for a recession in what he has called a time of transition, he has stuck by his tariff plan. And he has said repeatedly and over the weekend even that deals could come very soon. That was something we were hearing from his economic officials today, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, as well as Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who said that there are many deals on the table. Bessent in particular said there are 17 good deals from global partners right now on the table, and they have talked in recent days about their meetings with India, South Korea, and other allies. But both of them acknowledged at the end of the day that it will be President Trump that will make the final decision on these trade deals. Important to note, we are now 60 days left in that 90-day period before his, quote, reciprocal tariffs take effect. So the clock is ticking to get these deals done and at least announced.
President Trump was also asked about his immigration policies and due process. Let's listen.
Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Well, the Fifth Amendment says
I don't know. It might say that, but if you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials.
Even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said.
Aaron, how remarkable are those comments, and what kind of can't even say this word, reverberations, there we go, are they sending through Washington?
Yeah. It is striking. I mean, this all started during a conversation between President Trump and NBC in regards to Kilmar Abrego Garcia. That's that El Salvadorian man from Maryland that the Trump administration said in court was mistakenly deported to that Supermax prison in El Salvador due to a, quote, administrative error. Asked if Abrego Garcia and other undocumented migrants should get due process in these deportation proceedings, President Trump seemingly pointed to his lawyers, his attorney general, while also saying that it would really slow down his deportation operation, his goals, if every migrant were to get a case. And this all falls into President Trump kind of criticizing the court system, not necessarily sparing the Supreme Court either, and what he sees as them slowing down his agenda. And one of the reactions that we saw, at least on Capitol Hill, from House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, he said, quote, everyone in the U.S. has a responsibility to follow the Constitution, and said that includes you, Donald Trump. There's nothing unclear about it.
The president was also asked about his desire to absorb Canada and Greenland. Let's listen.
You and I talked, and I asked you if you would rule out military force to take Greenland, and you said no, you don't rule out anything. Would you rule out military force to take Canada?
Well, I think we're not going to ever get to that point. It could happen. Something could happen with Greenland. I'll be honest. We need that for national and international security.
But not
I
with
think
Canada?
It's highly unlikely. I don't see it with Canada. I just don't see it. I have to be honest with you.
The Canadian Prime Minister is coming to the White House Tuesday. Mark Carney won on an anti-Trump platform. How do you expect that meeting to go?
Yeah, Carney has said one of his top priorities is that economic relationship between the U.S. and Canada. And asked during an Oval Office event what his own expectation is for that meeting, President Trump said he's, quote, not sure what Carney wants to see me about, but suggested they may want to make a deal. And interestingly enough, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said on Fox Business earlier this afternoon that it's a, quote, really complex relationship between the U.S. and Canada, and said it will be, quote, a fascinating meeting. He doesn't see how it works out so perfectly.
President Trump also spoke for the first time this weekend about Mike Waltz leaving as national security advisor. What did he say?
Yeah, President Trump framed the new post for Mike Waltz to be ambassador to the United Nations as, quote, an upgrade. He continually downplayed it and said he did not lose confidence in Mike Waltz, despite CBS News hearing from sources within the White House that there was consternation about his handling of the whole Signalgate story, as well as his own selections for his National Security Council staff.